On a cold evening, the busy streets of the city were filled with people rushing to their homes. Among them was a young girl named Aisha. She was a poor girl, but she carried a heart full of kindness. After a long day of work, she was walking home with tired feet and a heavy mind. Her family depended on her, and she never complained. She always hoped for better days, even though life was hard. As she walked down a narrow street, something caught her eye. A man was lying on the roadside, motionless. His face was pale, and he looked helpless. People were passing by, but no one stopped to help. Some even stepped over him without care. Aisha's heart beat faster. She could not ignore a person in need, no matter how tired she was or how poor she felt. Without a second thought, she hurried towards the man. She kneeled down beside him and gently touched his shoulder. "Sir, are you okay?" she asked softly. There was no answer. His eyes were closed. Aisha looked around for help, but the street was still crowded and no one seemed to notice. She felt a strange fear, but also a strong need to do something. Aisha took out her phone, but the screen was cracked and the battery was low. She managed to call an ambulance and explained the situation. She stayed by the man's side, holding his hand, whispering words of hope. "Please be okay. Please don't leave us," she prayed silently. She did not know this man, but in that moment, he was the most important person in her life. Minutes felt like hours as she waited. The cold wind blew and Aisha wrapped her thin shawl around the man's body to keep him warm. Passers-by began to slow down and watch. Some felt sorry, but still did not come close. Aisha's eyes were fixed on the man's face, watching for any sign of life. Finally, the man's eyelids fluttered. He took a deep breath and opened his eyes, confused and weak. "Where am I?" he whispered. Aisha smiled softly. "You are safe now?" "Don't worry," she said. She helped him sit up slowly, supporting him as he regained his strength. He looked at her with tired eyes, but there was a strange warmth there. The man's name was Rohail, but Aisha did not know that yet. He kept his identity hidden, afraid that people might treat him differently if they knew he was a billionaire. For now, he was just a tired man who needed help, and Aisha was the only one who cared enough to stay. As the ambulance arrived, Rohail held Aisha's hand and thanked her quietly. Aisha felt proud but also curious. Who was this man? Why was he alone and unconscious in the street? Why did no one else help him? These questions stayed in her mind as she watched the ambulance take him away. That night, Aisha could not sleep. Her thoughts kept returning to the man she had helped. She wondered if he was okay and what had happened to him. She hoped that one day she would see him again. Little did she know, their lives were about to change forever. The cold city night held many secrets, and Aisha's small act of kindness was the start of a story that neither of them could have imagined. A story full of hope, surprises, and a destiny that would bring them together in ways they never expected. Who was Rohail really? And why had fate chosen this poor girl to help him? The answers were hidden in the days to come, waiting to unfold, in a way that would change everything. The next morning, Aisha woke up early, her mind still filled with thoughts about the man she had helped. She had never seen anyone so weak and helpless before. Even though she was poor and had her own struggles, she felt proud that she had done something good. Little did she know, this small act would change her life forever. Meanwhile, Rohail was in a hospital room, slowly recovering. The doctors said he had fainted because of exhaustion and stress. He was a busy man, a billionaire CEO of a big company, but no one knew about his secret struggles. Rohail felt tired not just in his body but in his heart. Money and success could not fix the loneliness he carried inside. As Rohail opened his eyes and looked around the white walls, he kept thinking about the girl who saved him. Her kindness touched something deep inside him. She had no idea who he was, and yet she cared for him without fear or judgment. That was something he had not seen in a long time. Rohail's assistant came to visit him, and was surprised to hear about the girl who had helped him. She was just a poor street girl, Rohail said quietly, but she was the only one who cared. The assistant looked worried. "Sir, Maybe we should find her. She deserves our help. Back in the city, Aisha was struggling with her own problems. Her family was poor, and every day was a battle to survive. Her mother was sick, and her younger siblings needed food and school supplies. Aisha worked hard in a small shop, but the money was never enough. Despite all this, Aisha's heart remained kind. She believed that helping others was more important than anything else. But deep down, she wished for a better life, for herself and her family. She dreamed of a day when she would not have to worry about food or medicine. One afternoon, as Aisha was working, a man in a suit came into the shop. He looked serious but kind. "Are you Aisha?" he asked. Aisha nodded, unsure. The man smiled gently. "I'm Rohail. You helped me when I was in trouble. I want to thank you properly." Aisha was shocked. She had no idea this man was the same person she had helped. Her eyes widened. You are that man?" she asked softly. Rohail nodded. "Yes, and I want to help you and your family. Please come with me." Aisha felt a mix of fear and hope. Could this be real? Was her life about to change? She hesitated for a moment, but then agreed. Something inside her told her to trust this man. As they left the shop together, Aisha looked back once at the street she had known all her life. It was the same street where she had helped a stranger in need. A stranger who was now offering her a chance at a new life. The future was unknown, but for the first time it felt full of promise. What would Rohail do to help Aisha? And how would their lives change after this unexpected meeting? The answers were waiting, just around the corner, ready to unfold in the next chapter of their story. The days after their meeting were full of new and strange experiences for Aisha. Rohail invited her to his grand house, a place she had only seen in movies. The tall walls, shiny floors, and expensive furniture amazed her, but what impressed her most was Rohail's kindness. He didn't treat her like a poor girl. Instead, he listened to her carefully and respected her feelings. Rohail wanted to know everything about Aisha's life, her struggles, her family, and her dreams. She told him about her sick mother, her younger siblings, and how hard she worked to support them. She never expected anyone to care this much. Rohail promised her that he would do everything in his power to help them live a better life. But even with all the money and power Rohail had, he faced his own challenges. He was used to making decisions alone and controlling everything. Now, someone else's problems became his responsibility, and he felt unsure if he could manage it all. Yet, every time he saw Aisha's hopeful face, he felt stronger and more determined. Meanwhile, Aisha started visiting the hospital regularly to check on her mother's health. With Rohail's support, she was able to get proper medicines and treatment for her mother for the first time in months. Her siblings began attending school without worries about fees or books. Slowly, her life was changing for the better. One day, while helping Rohail organize a charity event for poor children, Aisha met many other people who had stories similar to hers. She felt a deep connection with them, and it gave her a new purpose. She realized that helping others was not just her dream, but could become her life's mission. However, not everyone was happy about Aisha's sudden change in fortune. Some people in Rohail's circle whispered behind her back, doubting her intentions. They thought she was trying to take advantage of Rohail's kindness. These rumors reached Aisha's ears and made her feel lonely and confused. She wondered if she truly belonged in this new world. Despite the doubts and challenges, Rohail stood by Aisha. He believed in her honesty and strength. Together, they faced the criticism and proved that their bond was real. Their friendship grew deeper, and they began to trust each other more every day. But there was still a secret Aisha did not know, a secret about Rohail's past that could change everything between them. Rohail had once lost someone very dear to him because of his business enemies. This loss had made him close off from the world, hiding his true feelings behind his wealth. Would Aisha be able to help Rohail heal from his past? Or would the shadows of his history come between them? The answers were hidden in time, waiting to be discovered as their story continued to unfold. The days turned into weeks, and Aisha found herself growing more comfortable in Rohail's world. She was learning to navigate the unfamiliar luxury around her, but she never forgot where she came from. Her heart stayed with her family and the people who struggled every day. Rohail admired her spirit, how she stayed humble despite everything. One afternoon, Rohail took Aisha to visit the neighborhood where she had grown up. The narrow streets, the small shops, and the crowded homes were a stark contrast to his mansion. Aisha introduced him to her family and friends. Her mother was weak but smiling, her siblings shy but hopeful. Rohail was deeply moved. He realized how much Aisha had carried on her shoulders, the weight of poverty, pain, and responsibility. Rohail promised to help the whole community. He wanted to provide jobs, build schools, and improve their lives. But Aisha warned him, "It won't be easy. People here have suffered for a long time. They don't trust anyone, especially rich people." Together they started small projects. They opened a free clinic and a food bank. Slowly, the community began to see that Rohail and Aisha were sincere. People came forward to accept help and share their stories. But not everyone was happy with these changes. Some powerful people who had benefited from the poverty in the area felt threatened. They started spreading rumors about Rohail and Aisha, saying they had bad intentions. These rumors caused tension and fear among the villagers. One night, a fire broke out near the clinic. Luckily, no one was hurt, but the building was badly damaged. Rohail and Aisha were heartbroken. Was this a warning? Who wanted to stop their work? The incident made them stronger. Instead of giving up, they worked harder to rebuild. They organized, more support from charities and friends. Aisha's determination inspired everyone. At the same time, Rohail's past continued to haunt him. The enemies who had hurt him years ago were still watching. They wanted to take revenge and ruin everything he had built. Rohail had to protect not only himself, but also Aisha and the people she loved. One evening, as Rohail and Aisha sat together, discussing their plans, a stranger appeared outside the house. He left a mysterious note warning them to stop their work or face danger. The tension was rising, and the peaceful days were slipping away. Aisha felt scared but refused to back down. She looked at Rohail and said, "We started this to help. People, no one can stop us now." Rohail nodded, feeling a new strength inside. He realized that with Aisha by his side, he could face any challenge. Together they were ready to fight for the future they believed in. What would happen next? Would their courage be enough to overcome the threats? The story was far from over, and the next chapter held even more surprises. As the days passed, the tension around Rohail and Aisha grew stronger. The threats and rumors didn't stop. Instead, they became louder and more dangerous. The people in the neighborhood were scared, unsure whom to trust. Some believed the rumors, while others stood firmly with Rohail and Aisha. One morning, Aisha woke up to find her home broken into. Nothing valuable was taken, but the message was clear. Someone wanted to scare her. She felt a cold shiver run down her spine. For the first time, fear touched her heart. Rohail saw the change in Aisha. He wanted to protect her, but also knew that fear could not control their lives. He hired security for their projects and made sure Aisha and her family were safe. Still, the danger was close. Despite everything, Aisha never stopped working for her community. She visited families, listened to their problems, and shared hope. Her courage inspired many, and slowly the people began to stand together against the threats. Rohail and Aisha decided to organize a big event to bring everyone in the community together. They planned to celebrate their progress and show that fear would not win. Invitations were sent and excitement started to grow. On the day of the event, the whole neighborhood gathered in the open park. There was music, food, and laughter, a rare moment of joy in a place that had known so much. Rohail spoke to the crowd, promising to continue supporting them no matter what. But just as things seemed hopeful, a shocking announcement was made. A powerful man from the city, who was behind many of the threats, arrived and tried to stop the event. He demanded Rohail leave the neighborhood immediately. The crowd gasped, and a tense silence fell. Rohale stood firm and told the man, "This community has the right to live with dignity and hope. We will not be scared away." Aisha held Rohale's hand tightly, feeling proud and strong. The people cheered, and for the first time the power of unity was clear. However, the battle was far from over. The powerful man vowed to return with more force, and Rohale knew they had to prepare for what was coming. But with Aisha by his side and the support of the community, he believed they could face anything. As the sun set on that eventful day, a new chapter in their story was beginning, one of courage, hope, and the fight for a better future. The days after the event were filled with a mix of hope and danger. Rohale and Aisha worked harder than ever to protect the community and continue their mission. But the threats from the powerful man and his allies grew stronger. They sent more warnings and even tried to bribe some people to turn against Rohale and Aisha. Despite the pressure, the community stood firm. Many families came forward to support the projects, and new volunteers joined to help rebuild and care for the people. The spirit of togetherness gave everyone strength. One night, Rohale received a secret message from an unexpected source, someone inside the powerful man's group who wanted peace. The message warned of a planned attack to destroy the clinic and hurt those who stood with Rohale. It was a chance to stop the violence, but it was risky. Rohale and Aisha decided to use the message carefully. They organized extra security around the clinic and told trusted friends to be ready for any danger. Aisha's heart raced every moment, knowing lives were at risk. Meanwhile, Rohale continued his business work, but never forgot the neighborhood. That needed him. He used his resources to improve security and bring more help. Every time he saw Aisha's determined face, he felt hope that good could win. The night of the planned attack arrived. Dark clouds covered the sky as Rohale and Aisha waited in the clinic with a small group of helpers. Hours passed slowly. Then suddenly, they heard noise outside. Men trying to break in. A tense fight followed. The helpers protected the clinic, while Rohale called the police. Aisha stayed calm, helping the injured and encouraging everyone to be brave. The police arrived just in time and stopped the attackers. The neighborhood breathed a sigh of relief. The attack had failed, but everyone knew the battle was not over. In the days that followed, Rohale and Aisha promised to keep fighting for the community. Their courage inspired even those who had once doubted. Slowly, the neighborhood began to heal, and the dream of a better future seemed closer than ever. But the story was still unfolding, with new challenges and surprises waiting just around the corner. Would their bond and bravery be enough to change everything? Only time would. Till the months that followed were filled with quiet hope and hard work. Rohale and Aisha had become symbols of strength for the neighborhood. Their efforts brought new schools, clean water, and better homes. The people began to smile again, their fears slowly fading. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky with orange and pink, Rohale invited Aisha to his home. It was the first time he shared his true feelings. He thanked her for her courage and kindness, telling her how much she had changed his life. Aisha, surprised and moved, smiled softly. She never expected that the poor girl who helped a stranger in trouble would find a new family and a chance to dream again. Just as they started to hope for a peaceful future, a new letter arrived. It was from the powerful man who had caused so much pain. But this time, his tone was different. He admitted defeat and offered peace, promising to leave the neighborhood alone. The community celebrated this victory, knowing their courage and unity had made a difference. Rohale and Aisha stood together, ready to face whatever came next. But now, with hope in their hearts and trust in each other, their story was no longer just about struggle. It had become a story of love, hope, and the power of kindness. And as they looked to the future, they knew that together they could overcome anything. The little girl who once helped a stranger had found her place in the world, and the billionaire who had fallen in trouble found a reason to believe in people again. This was only the beginning of a new, beautiful journey. One Minisu.